Okay. I think we're recording. Hello, everybody. Happy St. Patty's Day. Welcome back to my channel. It is March 17th, 2021. And my lighting is so weird here that I'm actually wearing a green shirt in honor of St. Patty's Day, but it looks blue. I'm wearing green necklaces, green bracelets, green everything. I've got jade on, I've got chrysocolla, the whole 9 yards. But it's showing up blue, so excuse my lighting. Today I am welcoming back to my channel Mr. Alexander Quinn, starseed, who is kind of my younger adopted brother in the UK. Because if I had a younger brother, it would be totally Alexander. So welcome back to my show, Alexander. Do you want to just kind of briefly tell everybody who's watching a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, talk about your channel as well a little?
Yeah, so I mean, to cut a long story short, I left the Matrix about 2 years ago, as much as I could. Basically started my awakening in 2012 and been on the path ever since then. And now I do this work, spiritual stuff full time. And there's a book which is due to come out, and yeah, it's amazing. So I had a standard 9 to 5, and I was totally immersed in the kind of work world thing, and now I do the basically helping starseeds full time. So so that is what I do full time, and I occasionally get messages from the Arcturians, which I write down. I have a YouTube, obviously the book, and I'm very fortunate that I can talk to you and have these lovely chats and do these sort of interviews. So right now it's such an important time because so many people are waking up so quick. They're really in need of people who supposedly aren't real light workers, because everyone's going on about the false light workers and false this and false that. And we'll get into that in a minute, but
yep.
Apparently everything is infiltrated these days and everyone is fake. But
yeah.
before we get to that, so it's been one wild ride, and I'm just, my inbox, just like yours, gets bigger and bigger every day. Pardon me, bit of hay fever. And yeah, it's just more and more people are awaking and they need more and more help, and it's just getting busier and busier every day. And it's just a question of how to keep on top, because there's more triggers out there in the world that are happening for good and bad reasons, that are triggering people to basically wake up out of their slumber and start questioning reality. And when you plant your intention, the universe starts putting you on the path. So your thoughts alone, you don't even have to say anything, just your thoughts alone can start the ascension process. So yeah, so it's just a mental time, and the amount of people that are waking, I mean, more and more people are going over to BitChute and checking things out over there, which tells you a lot about the social media going on at the moment, with YouTube and BitChute, because there are more and more takedowns on YouTube. So more and more information is going on to BitChute, and so you're finding all of a sudden that this platform is just, BitChute is just really taking off. It's amazing. So it's such a crazy time. But I mean, how are you, Kimberly? And tell me about your energy workshop you're doing.
Oh my gosh, thanks for asking. I'm doing okay. I'm doing a lot of, meditating and listening to a lot of high frequency lately. I've been really listening to a lot of 528 hertz and 852 hertz music to keep my vibe high, because I have all these people around me who want to get jabs. And it's upsetting. It's very upsetting and disconcerting. Yeah. And so I'm trying to not let my energy go to that, because every time we get upset about these negative things that are happening around us, it's like poking a hole in your vessel of energy. It's like you're this big vessel of energy and light, and you're poking holes and you're letting your light out, and you're losing some of your light, and it's sucking your numbers down. I did a reading on a client, because I'm able to scan people's energy where they're vibrating on 1 to 1,000 and they need to be at 528 or higher. I had a client who's vibrating at like 710 or something, and then she got exposed to some really negative stuff, and it took her down to like 6 something. And it's dropping people's energy. And I tried to explain to people that every time your attention, wherever your attention goes, your spirit follows,
Yeah.
and your body follows, your physical body, your spirit, everything. Your mind is a powerful creator, and your mind, your thoughts vibrate high or low based on the type of thoughts, if they're negative or positive. And even, I mean, I'm a human. So from time to time, I have negative thoughts, but at least I've been doing this work for so many years with people, like 23 years, that I'm able to tell myself, stop. Like I see a stop sign and I say, stop the minute those thoughts come in. And then I refocus my attention on something positive. And so I've been finding myself having to really work on my own self lately a lot, because there's so much negativity around me that
Yeah.
was never around me before. So I don't know about you, Alexander, but in my past experiences on this earth, I've never encountered as much negativity as I've seen in the last year and a half, since this whole world event has happened with lockdowns and everything, and people just so negative. And then there's all of these phonies on social media and on YouTube. There's so many videos that are very dark, that are doomsday. I just heard another prophet, what I call a false prophet, on saying that in a few years from now, the poles are going to shift and everybody's going to die. That's a lie. That's a lie. For all of you who are watching this video, if you're listening to people who are making predictions that sound fearful, you need to stop listening to that and turn it off, and turn on Alexander or myself or Lori Ladd or Magenta Pixie, or some of these other people who are more positive, uplifting information, because we all co-create and co-manifest as as a combined unity consciousness. We have a unity consciousness on this planet that people don't understand. And we're all co-creating what happens to us right now with our thoughts. And so every time the dark side shows us something, they show us a video, they show us a movie about Armageddon or the end of the world, every time we are all focusing on that, we are creating that to happen.
It's very true. It's very true. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's very, very interesting. I mean, the media have not stepped down from their fear propaganda. That's been crazy. But I mean, even if you go to like Netflix, all of the new shows are about. There's more thrillers. There's more like disturbing dramas.
Dystopian
Yeah, yeah,
stuff, like
yeah. There's not.
crazy.
Like I was actually
Yeah.
sat with my other half just going through all the stuff on Netflix recently. Like there's a lot of stuff, like not like feel good stuff. It's like it's being flooded with like psychological thrillers, psychological dramas, like end of the world movies, like all of this stuff. It's like the media is bombarding you wherever you go. And it's yeah, I mean, you really have to switch it off. I mean, I've actually really gone back to just reading a book in bed at night and switching it all off, and it really, it's amazing how quick your brain rewires when you just shut off the media and everything, and just don't watch it for a whole week and just read a book. Your mentality and your energy changes so quickly. It's amazing
Right.
how quickly. I mean, Archangel Michael was doing a channel message recently. He was saying that two of the most dangerous appliances in your house, number one is the microwave.
Yes.
Because it can potentially change the actual the frequency of the food you're eating. But if you keep on eating microwave meals all the time, it'll start changing your DNA,
Oh
and
God.
then you'll basically start getting cells which basically
Mutate. You
mutate
mutate. Yeah.
into other things that are not good, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the micro, I mean, I very, very rarely use the microwave. I have one, but I think I almost never use it. And the TV, that's the other most dangerous thing in the household, because all the subversive things that they put on it, but also
Well,
all the
subliminal.
fear,
It's all full of subliminal message.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also all the fear-driven media. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I mean, it's, and also the other thing that's very prevalent at the moment is there is some very we were doing so well in the light worker starseed community. We were all just starting to come together, and then there have been some very subversive energies coming in, basically making everyone believe that everything is infiltrated, everything is fake, everything is blah 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 blah, getting everyone to call people out. And instead
Yeah.
of coming together like brothers and sisters in the starseed, the spiritual community, now what I'm saying is everyone calling everyone out, and this
Attacking
person's
each
saying,
other. Everybody's like going
attacking
for each
each other.
other's throats and attacking each other. They're turning
Yeah,
us
we
all
really,
against each other.
we really got to be coming together. So I would say to the people who are, and also there's a lot of starseeds getting really immersed in the conspiracy stuff. I mean, I know in an age of lies, everything is a conspiracy theory, and there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there which are real, and a lot of the
Yeah,
starseeds do have the truth on it. But there's a lot of dark conspiracy theories out there at the moment, and a lot of the starseeds are getting really sucked into it. And I just keep telling them, it doesn't really matter what any of these people are saying. It doesn't even matter what I say. I was talking to someone the other day. I say, don't even, bother watching my YouTube videos, because none of them really matter at the end of the day.
mm-hmm.
What matters is the truth you are building. What matters is the reality you are building, and the inner work. You got to start, you got to start focusing on the reality that you want to create, not the reality around you. You got to get rid of all the external stuff, because you're not going to do your work. So just go for a walk barefoot, pick up a nice book, go and see,
Exactly.
your grandfather who you love or whatever. Don't worry about all this stuff, all this extra stuff, or,
It's noise. It's all
yeah,
noise.
noise. It's all just noise. I
Mm-hmm.
would, if you want to go and watch my YouTube videos, great. But I would recommend actually just going first, actually going out into nature and picking up a book or something like that, just find some calmness, without all the noise and everything around you at the moment, because there's so much noise at the moment, and all the star seeds attacking each other and calling each other out. It's just another big distraction that
Right.
people don't need right now. So
I agree.
there's a lot of suspicion, a lot of people calling it judgment, suspicion. If you're on the judgment and suspicion, I think you're vibrating at like 150 or something, or on the
Mm-hmm.
scale. So I
I
love and
am
compassion.
totally not doing that. I mean,
Yeah,
luckily I'm a human lie detector and I can tell the actual false people. And there are a few of them out there. A few of the people are they've either been infiltrated by the dark side, they're in their ego. Some of them are just in their ego 100%. And some of them are outright lying just to get attention.
yeah,
And I know who they are. There's a few of them, but it's not everybody, and it's not even a majority. It's just a very select few
yeah.
people who are putting lies out there. And I'm so grateful that one of my spidey senses, or my psychic gifts, whatever you want to call them, is that I'm able to see through every being, whether they're human, not human. I can see into and through everyone. And so you can't fool me. You can't fool me. And I'm not going to call that person out by name ever, because my mother always taught me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I won't call the person out by name, but I know
100%.
more of my people.
There's actually a channeled message that I've saved directly from Created that I want to read out to you. That's really, really important.
Oh, definitely.
So if you could just talk just for a little bit, just while I dig this out, because I really want people to hear this.
Sure. Well,
Uh,
you asked me about my energy medicine program, and then I went on and I didn't talk about it. So I'll sure.
yeah. If you could just
So
talk about that for 2 seconds.
yeah, so I've been teaching. I started teaching an energy healing workshop, and it's the only one of its kind on the earth right now. It's not like anything out there. I spent 35 years studying this stuff, and then I spent 2 months hardcore putting this workshop together. The reason it's unique is because it's the most comprehensive program that basically covers every type of energy medicine and energy healing that there is known to man. It's an overview, and the class is good for anyone who wants to learn about energy medicine, either to heal themselves or to heal other people. Maybe they're considering becoming an energy healer and they don't know where to start, because what God told me is that the internet is overloaded with information. He asked me to do this workshop to help people to discern what type of energy healing is best for you, because it is different from person to person. What vibes for me is totally different than what vibes for you. Like, I can't do acupuncture for because I have really thin skin and I have different reasons I can't do acupuncture. Whereas other people, like I had a grandma who had rheumatoid arthritis, and acupuncture was the only thing that saved her life. So it's different from person to person to person. So I'm doing this 3-part workshop that I'm teaching through Learn It Live. And if anybody wants to know how to sign up for that and get access. It was live last Saturday, but I have it recorded now and it's up on the website. I have another live session on this coming Saturday and then another one the week after, because it's 3 parts. It's actually 6 hours of training. And if they were to work with me and I were to teach them in private sessions, all of this information that's so comprehensive, they would pay like $700, $800, $900 for it. But the class that I'm teaching is only 197 US dollars. So it's a really, really good value because they're getting life-saving and life-changing information that not only will help them, but will help every person in their life who they want to, share it with or to heal. And I'm actually not only just going over an overview of all of the different modalities, I'm also teaching the people some basic hands-on energy healing, how to use crystals, how to find crystals, how to program, just everything with crystals, essential oils, botanicals, plant medicines, hands-on healing techniques. They're going to learn about all these things and they're going to learn some very basic skills that they can immediately, like the minute they get off of the program, they'll be able to start doing energy healing work immediately on their own. So, so they can message me through my website, which is spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. There's a contact form and they tell me they want to know about the workshop, and I will send them the link and the information
Okay,
to
that's
that.
great.
So, yeah.
It's very important work you're doing. Now I found the quote if you wanna hear it.
Yes, please.
It's very important what I'm going to read out, because a lot of people are messaging me all the time at the moment, and they're saying, my family is still in 3D, and what do I do, and how do I get them to wake up, and all this stuff. And I have two bits of advice. The first bit of advice is basically a high multi-dimensional energy is attractive. People are drawn towards that because in chaos, like the masters, for example, they seem like untouched. Like a master will walk around in chaos and they'll just have a beautiful energy, and people are like, wow, why are they not being pulled down by the energy? So a high multi-dimensional energy is very attractive. So the number one thing I would say to people is you must lead by example. You must not be evangelical and preach. That is the first thing. People will just allow people to be naturally gravitated to what it is you're doing just by you doing it. It's like some of the star seeds out there that Dolores Cannon talked about it. She said some of them, there are certain star seeds that have different ways in which they work. Some of them don't have to do anything. All they have to do is just walk in a shopping mall, and their Merkaba and their energy field crossing others will just be enough energetically to rub off onto other people. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that's very, very important is to allow people to wake up in their own time, because it's partly to do with their soul contract or whatever it is that they agreed to come down here.
Absolutely.
And it's not right necessarily to go waking people up when it's not their time. Obviously you can speed the process up, but there are certain people who will wake up when it's the right time for them. And there's this guy I follow every now and again. I haven't seen him in a little while, but he's fantastic. And he channels creator, source creator, or as other people will know, God directly. And it's just a very beautiful little message I've kept. It's just a short message. Shall I read it out?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to stand by and watch another's truth unfold. Your involvement in it might dilute, distort, influence, change, or discreate it for them. This does not mean you love them any less, have no desire to help, or do not want to share in the experience with them. It shows that you, in all your perfection, want the other to attain theirs in their own way.
Wow, that's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah. So sometimes allowing people to find their own truth first, unaided, or with just only a small amount of aid, will allow them to see their most powerful truth and awaken in the most organic way. So that is my the two bits of information that I would say to people, and it really does work. Lead by example, because if you imagine that you're like a master walking around like Jesus, in a terrible world, people naturally gravitate to you because your energy is so attractive.
Mhm.
So actually, that's how you share. That's how starseeds share their light, because it's actually, being a light worker is very difficult. I know people keep saying it's
Mhm.
very difficult. Being on Earth is tough. Yeah, granted,
Yes.
for sure. Because there are a lot of souls that aren't used to being in a low vibration. But doing your work as a light worker can be very easy, actually, just by leading by example, just being you, just by being your
Right.
authentic self,
Exactly.
and that's it.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot of people always ask him that question: how do I wake up all the other starseeds? How do I do it? Well, they have their own spirit guides. They have their own entourage
Right.
working with them. There's things going on in outer space. There's photonic gamma plasmic rays hitting our Earth, which your DNA is going to be switching on. There's something called Enki's gift, which is a genetic a time coding, which Enki from
Uh-huh.
the Anunnaki family also put in, because he wanted to do some of the give back to humanity. So there's all kinds of things happening. Also just hanging out with other star seeds. They're gonna wake you up. So there's so many things happening. So, and something I put out recently on my Facebook is, we're undoing hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of years of negative deception and rule and genetic influence. And, there's no rush to do this ascension. Take your time.
No, it's not a competition and everybody's ascending in a
Yeah,
different level. Like some people, like I did a video recently about the crystalline body changes because I have these continual hot flashes and sweating and
yeah.
I'm not
A lot of
menopausal.
people are
I
getting
did
that.
that a
A
long
lot of
time
people
ago.
are getting that.
Yeah, and I have found out that women in their 80s, men are getting it, like lots of men are getting this. Girls that are 20 years old are having it, and we're talking menopausal symptoms when they're not even a woman or they're not menopausal. And what I told everyone in my last video that I did about that is that God spoke to me and explained to me that it's like when you take sand and you heat it up really hot and turn it into glass. That is what we're becoming. So we're getting heated up and cooled down and heated up, but it's being done in small increments and
Sure.
bursts. And the reason why is because if we were to be just fully turned to crystalline, your body couldn't handle it and you would die. You would
Yeah.
actually die. And so, with all of the ascension symptoms, it's a very gradual process over time because if we were to just suddenly ascend, or just like that great solar flash is not going to hit for a while, because if it did hit, we're not ready for it and your body would just fall apart. I mean, you wouldn't be able to handle it. So, all of these symptoms, they're annoying as heck, but you have to just hang in there because none of the symptoms will kill you. Like none of them are deadly. They're just annoying. Like they're really annoying. Like headaches, not ability to sleep, not being able to like drink a beer, not being able to eat red meat, or maybe craving lots of fruits and vegetables. There's all of these little symptoms. And as annoying as they are, you have to just kind of, breathe through it and just kind of go with the flow because all of them are helping you to get, your body is becoming crystalline, you're going more into the fifth density, and everything is changing on this planet. And it's you can't do it overnight. You just can't. So many people are impatient and they just want it now, now, now. They want it the second. But most of us are here on this earth learning a lesson of patience. Many of
Yeah.
us are
Yeah. Yeah.
here learning a lesson of patience with this
That's what
whole,
all
yeah, all of
That's what
it.
all the arca, the Metatron, Cryon, Archangel Michael, Saint Germain, the Arcturians are all saying the same. They're saying just be patient. We're changing the vibration of an entire planet. It's going to take lifetimes, not just one lifetime. Yes, it's speeding up. This is in the lifetimes that people are alive on planet Earth at this moment in time. Right now, it is the fastest pace in which it has ever happened
Hmm.
for a very, very long time. because we have
Yeah.
had ascensions before. People forget this is not the first time Earth has ascended.
26,000 years. They happen every 26,000
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
Yeah.
and also 26,000 years. Also, don't forget our solar system goes round the sun of Alcyon.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun of Alcyon is actually a very high dimensional place. So you know how like some ships in the sky, you can't see them; they're out because they're
Right.
trans-dimensional, right?
Right.
You have to be a vibrational match to be able to see some of them, unless they materialize. Well, there are certain stars
Mm-hmm.
and places in the universe which are trans-dimensional as well. So
Yes.
our astronomers can't see them yet,
Nope.
or because we don't have the technology to see them, but we
Mm-hmm.
will. And Alcyon is one of them. So basically, our solar system is going round the sun of Alcyon, a huge sun, which is linked to the Pleiadian system,
Right.
and it goes round every 26,000 years. But what
Wow.
happens is as you will know about this, but there is the photonic belt
Mm-hmm.
stuck right in the middle, which is basically a big thing, big
Mm-hmm.
photonic belt, which is strapped all the way around the sun of Alcyon. So every 26,000 years, when we hit that photonic belt, which we hit in 2012, you get a ascension phase where you go up in ascension. So you don't go down. So there's a chance to ascend even more. But you don't descend. So I think it
Yeah.
takes, if I'm correct in saying, 4,000 to 5,000 years to go through the photonic belt in its entirety. And we basically went into it in 2012. So we're basically only like a couple of years old, multidimensionally, or certainly in terms of our ascension.
Mm-hmm.
And the most prolific, strongest point of the Alcyon belt is right in
Mm-hmm.
the middle. So it's
Right.
going to take 2,000 years to get to the highest point where we're getting the strongest energies. So people need and then it'll take 4,000 years to go all the way through and out the other end. So when we come out the other end, we will be a very, very changed species. And I'm seeing people talking about the Earth, basically all of the generations and everyone, humanity, maybe anywhere from maybe up to 500 years or a few more generations until everyone is 5D, not just like 20% of the starseeds who are awake at this moment in time. Yes, you can access the 5D and 60 energies and 7. You can access all of them now if you want,
Yes.
depending on where and who you are.
Right.
Um, but the whole of humanity won't be hitting that until further on. But so it's important to take into account, also as we're going through the belt, we got another 4,000 years of hitting this photonic belt of massive acceleration as well.
Mm-hmm.
So and then we've also got gamma coming from the great central sun. Some people say it's in Sagittarius. Some people say it's Alcyon. So there's so many things going on right now. My message to people is don't worry too much about timelines and ascension and trying to speed up your ascension. And I must do this. I must have the perfect ascension diet and all this stuff. Yeah, it helps, but just try to relax into it because it's
Yeah.
going to happen anyway.
Go with the
And
flow. It's
yeah, go
happening
with the flow.
around us, whether we like it or not. The thing that people need to understand, people are always concerned about, okay, my family member's asleep, so does that mean they're not going to ascend? And then I have to calm them down because they're literally freaked out about it. They're worried. And
Yeah.
here's what I have to say to you or them, whoever's listening, is don't worry about the people who are still asleep right now ascending, because we're all ascending. It's just that the people who are really low vibe, what I call third density, and I talked about it in my book, the people who are service to self, narcissists, sociopaths, committing crimes against humanity, they're all leaving here. They're all going. So all of the third density beings are leaving, but the majority of humans are fourth or fifth. And the fourth, I just explained it as being loving, compassionate, kind, seeing your connection to everyone else, understanding we're all brothers and sisters created by source. It's because the third density people are the racists, the people who hate you because of your color and that kind of thing, your religion. They hate you because you're not the same religion. That's all third density. So those people, they have a choice. They have free will. They're being given free will. They have a choice to come with us to become a loving person, to sink into their heart space and go to the 5D with us. They have that choice. If they choose during this time period to just keep on being mean and nasty, raping, pillaging, pedophilia, all these terrible things, you know, murdering, whatever, drugs, all of this stuff, they're all leaving here. They're not going to be here. Because this whole planet is changed. The planet itself's already changed to 5D, to fifth density, and Mama Gaia will no longer support life that is not resonating at the same frequency that she is. She will no longer support that life. They will not be able to exist. They will literally die. Like their body will die. They will not be able to live here. But the thing is that you can't force your family members to wake up. You need to just let them wake up when they will, and don't worry about if they're ascending with you. You need to stop being in a fear place of, oh, my family is asleep, therefore they're not ascending, because that is not true whatsoever. If they are a loving, kind, decent human being, they are ascending. So you need to stop worrying about that.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, and also, you know, now's the time to not be focusing on, oh my God, how do I save all the 3D people anymore? That time's gone now, because the timelines just I've been ripped apart now. So it's just find your own tribe.
Yeah.
And just I would say, I know it sounds terrible, but just don't even bother with the unawakened ones now, because we're not gonna create Gaia's. You're not gonna help co-create the world Gaia needs by hanging out with all the people who are stuck in the lower timelines. It's actually going to mess up your timeline too. So,
well, it drags your vibration down every time you are worrying and freaking out and getting fearful or stressed out about having to wake up other people. That just pulls you down. You know, you need to just let them be. We already had plenty of time to wake up as many people as we could. And now at this point, we need to wait for what's called the next big event, because there's going to be like a cataclysmic thing, not necessarily like the planet explodes or something like that, but there's going to be like a big unveiling of truth that's going to come out to everybody, that is going to do another mass awakening. So it's going to what they call red pill. There's going to be a lot of people red pilled in the coming months here. And by the end of this year, I've been shown by my team on the other side that everybody who is ever going to wake up, period, will be totally woke by the end of this year. The people who are not at that point they'll be leaving here. They will be going, the people who are not ready to ascend, they will be going to other third density planets where they can finish off their learning process as a soul, because your purpose as a soul is learning. You know, this is a college. Okay, Earth is a college. We're like at a semester in the University of Earth. Okay, we're all taking a semester here, and if you flunk out of your semester in college, then you have to go repeat the whole thing over again somewhere else that is third density frequency. So some of the people are going to be leaving here in mass groves because they're just not ready yet. And that is their soul's choice. That's their free will. There's nothing you can do about it. So it's not worth your energy to get angry or upset or down or depressed about it, because that just drags your energy down, and then you'll join them. And I have to tell people, I have to give people tough love and say, do you want to join them? Do you want to leave here? Because the more you focus on all that negativity, the more chance you have that you'll be leaving here too. So if you want to stay here with us and co-create the new Earth, you have to keep your vibe really, really high. You have to focus on positivity, and you have to let people go. Just let people go, you know, find your tribe, find your people. You know, I don't have any family who's awake. I don't have, and I have a lot of friends who are not awake either, and that's fine. So I found my own tribe of people who are, you know, awake, and I'm really, really lucky that my two best girlfriends are completely awake. Thank God. Because I don't know what I'd do without that, you know, but I have,
What I was going to say is, what's fascinating about, because I'm doing this work full time now, I'm mostly just pretty much only just talking to starseeds all day.
Yeah.
And it really is amazing. I mean, the more I see, it just confirms things I already knew. But I'll tell you something fascinating, linked to what you were just talking about, is the amount of people who are like a one-off in a family.
Yeah.
And they feel so alone, and it's only just them. and the family aren't awake, and it's like this classic cliche story I hear over and over and over again. And someone was asking me, it's amazing how that keeps happening, isn't it? I was like, well, not really, because
Mm-mm.
the reason you've been plonked in that family
Is to
is
help them, to help
is to
them.
help them, and it's
Yeah.
difficult, but it's no coincidence that in every family there's just like one person who's
Yes.
all alone, who's the black
Yes.
sheep. And I'm seeing this all the time. And well, the irony is that they all
Oh
think
yeah.
that there aren't many people out there like them. There's loads of people like them out there. That's why it's so important to find your tribe right now. But the reason why all these souls are getting plonked in these families, and they feel so alone, and all the rest of the family are different, and it's just them.
Yep.
It's because they agreed to come down here and go into that family, partly because of soul groups, and partly because of unfinished business, and partly because of karma, and partly because of all sorts of things, but partly because they've got to go in there and try and help that family out, and also heal
And
their
teach them.
lineage. Yeah, teach
Yeah.
them, but also help heal their ancestral lineages,
Yes.
as well,
Yes.
and wake them up.
Absolutely.
And so it's really, really interesting. I'm sure you see this as well, but doing the kind of work, and also doing the kind of work that I'm seeing a lot is my personal real fascination. My favorite fascination is the hybridization program. So I get, well, this is only women who talk to me about this thing, but women who lose the fetus at 3 months, and then they basically start dreaming about a child for years, and then they see it grow up in their dreams.
Hmm.
And then some mothers even get to meet their hybrid children, because some stay and some don't. Some go off to other places. So that's really fascinating. And then a couple of mothers have got in touch to say that their children are hybrid children, but they were able to give birth to it naturally without the fetus being removed.
Oh
And
wow.
they're saying these crystal rainbow children are just psychic as hell,
Oh
and
yes,
they
they are. They're
and they
amazing.
and basically, like, the school teacher will call to say that, like, the field trip has been cancelled or whatever, to like some nice place, and they'll say to, like, the parent, hey mom, don't worry about the field trip, because someone's like, I know what that phone call was about. Or they'll even say, they'll even wake up in the morning and say, the field trip has been cancelled, mom. And they'll say, what? That's crazy. Ring, 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 ring. The teacher calls and it's been cancelled. So they know the kids
They know
coming in now.
everything.
Yeah. And you can't lie to these crystal rainbow children, because
They
they
can
see.
see right through you, just like
Yeah.
me, like an X-ray machine. I can X-ray scan
Yeah.
people, and that's how they are too. They can literally X-ray scan you
Yeah.
and see what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
If you're a liar, if you're good, if you're bad, if you're evil, if you're a reptilian, they can see
Yeah.
all of it. They can see everything.
Yeah. So I mean, so it's amazing, because also we had our DNA tampered with, so that when we come out of the womb,
Mhm.
we're very vulnerable, and
Yes.
and we don't know what we're doing, and we have to spend, we've been dumbed down. So
Yes.
we're not in our full. Whereas if you look at a lot of the animals in the animal kingdom, when you look at the gazelle that comes out on the Serengeti plains, it knows instantaneously who the enemies are. They know instinctually what berries to eat, which ones are poisonous, which ones are not. They're
They know
walking
how to
on.
walk too.
They
Like
know how to
within a few
walk.
days,
They're
they're walking
walking
and
very, very quickly. So they have
yeah.
all their instincts and abilities with them straight away. Whereas we
Ours were
genetically,
robbed. We were
yeah, we
robbed.
we were robbed of all of that to keep us dumbed
Mhm.
down and to keep us suppressed and reliant. So all of that stuff's going to start coming back as well,
Mhm.
and kids are going to be able to just do things much quicker without the parents. So that's all kicking in as well, with the DNA 12 strand kicking in, all that stuff. So it's just going to be, the children. I mean, it's really, really important to keep looking after the ones who woke up in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Of course,
Mhm.
they're really important, but I just love watching the children, because they really are our future. My God, they're just waking up at the speed of light right now, and they are just
Right?
amazing.
Yeah,
And when
totally.
you're looking at a crystal or a rainbow child when you talk to them, because they see right through you. It's like their eyes see right through you, and they
Yes,
pierce through you and
exactly.
at the back of your head. And
Yes.
it is amazing. They know you inside out. They know everything about you the second, and they can read your thoughts as well to some degree.
Oh, a lot of them can. A lot of them can. And they also remember who they were. Like a lot of my clients who have these kids are telling me how their kid remembers all their past lifetimes.
Yeah, they're remembering it, and they're also remembering why they came here, and some of them are
Oh,
even
they're
telling.
telling their parents why they came here. I've actually had clients say, my daughter said, Mom, I came here to help the planet ascend. And then they're like 5 years old and they're saying this, or I came here to save people, or I came here to be a healer, or, and these are like little kids that are saying this. It's like,
I know
how
it's
would they
beautiful.
even know about them? And their parents are like
Yeah.
dumbfounded. They're like, what the heck?
Mm. Yeah. Oh yeah. But what is interesting is a lot of these crystal and rainbow children often, not always, but actually often are increasingly being born onto parents who are indigos themselves or something like that. So that is safer for them that way. You only get like real warriors, the new kids now being born into families who basically totally 3D, because they actually do need that love and support. And for some of the rainbow children, especially, people talk about autism and stuff like that, but these kids are just very multidimensional. They're very conceptual. They don't see things that the way we see them in a very linear way. So they need that extra help and love.
Yes, they do.
They're on another spectrum. So often they're coming into families who, there is no karma and unfinished business, because they need that extra support. So
Yes, they do. Exactly. They're not being born to what I call human souls. I did a whole video on the different types of souls a long time ago. I did one recently as well too, but there are human souls that have only been here on earth. That's all they've been. And by the way, Alexander, I want to point out to everybody that the people who are completely asleep right now, who are just not even showing any signs of activity in their brain other than totally stupefied by the news media, the mainstream media, those are human people. Because all of the people who I noticed who are fully awake right now are all star seeds. And the people who are still asleep are the human people who've only been on Earth. They've never been anywhere else. They've never been in Alpha Centauri or Sirius B or, Arcturus or any of these places. They have no clue what that even means. And they're the ones who are still completely out cold, like zombified, like total zombies.
Well, they will be, because they've never known anything other than Gaia, and Gaia is in a pretty bad state for a very, very long time.
Right.
So they don't carry the energy of anything else.
Right.
But also some of the ones which are still asleep. There are some starseeds, still asleep, but then there's some of the ones
there are.
They've been here the longest.
Yes.
Some of the old souls.
Yes, I noticed that too. There are star seeds that are asleep. In fact, when I said my family, they're all star seeds. They don't know it, but they are. And I know that. I know that about them because I am clairvoyant and clairaudient. And so I know who they are. I know what they are. But I think what it is with them is they're going to be the next great awakening, because they keep having this great awakening in increments. It keeps happening. There's one, and then there's another, and then there's another. So I think the events that will be unfolding in the next month, pretty much here or so, there's going to be stuff coming out within the next month or two. I think by summer, actually, pretty much all of the star seeds, by the end of summer, all the star seeds will be woke. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. I think so. I think, well, we're having the biggest awakenings ever now. I mean, it's just going exponential. Like it was going like this, slow, and now it's just going like jump like that.
Yes.
And I mean, it really started. I mean, talk about increments. I mean, this is very, very interesting, because this is how my understanding of it is. I mean, planets ascend and descend. People forget planets descend. Gaia descended along with all of its inhabitants, and that was because of a lot of interference and also free will and all kinds of stuff. So it's very, very interesting. But it was really around the big increments that I am aware of, which are really interest me, are around. I mean, the Galactic Federation basically said, how are we going to get the back door, and the councils and all the other ET councils, how are we going to get a backdoor way in to not disturb free will? Because we can't interfere with free will.
Right.
And basically Earth has descended so much that they're basically technologies are coming out. And don't forget, when you ascend, you get abilities that basically will be in accordance with higher dimensions, right? Including
Right.
technologies. But don't forget
Yes.
also, when you descend and you go darker and darker and darker, it will also facilitate some technologies coming out, which will be darker technologies to kill and blow your own planet up, like nuclear warfare and things like that. So,
Exactly. Mind
so then,
control.
yeah. So
MK
there were
Ultra.
so we had got to
Yeah.
such a low density
Yeah.
that actually bad technologies were coming out, like atomic bombs and things.
Right.
And that's when Gaia sent her alarm message out into the universe, and then the Galactic Federation, all the ETs and the angels, everything else heard it, and they said, but she basically pounded the alarm in the 40s. That was when the first big time was, especially around when the bombs went off, as you know, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, because that changed. That really affected things, other timelines going off in other places. That
Yeah.
was a big, F up,
Yeah,
right there.
everybody
So,
saw it from what I heard. All the galactics, all
yeah,
in the universe, all saw that event happen, and that is actually what got her signal out, because she had
yeah,
been sending the signal out for a long time.
yeah,
But
but it was
because of
blocked.
but it wasn't getting out because of the matrix. The Earth was locked
Yeah,
down in a matrix. It was being held hostage,
yeah,
and so her signal for help was not getting out. But when that bomb blew up in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that actually got the signal out because it drew
yeah,
the attention of all the galactics. My
yeah,
earpiece keeps falling out. And they keep and then they kept continuing to show up here in ships and groves, groves and groves and
yeah,
groves of these galactic ships would show up and show up. And now there's what, million of them out there or something. I mean, there's thousands, I think probably hundreds of thousands of ships around the earth right now that are being cloaked, or they're hiding in the alternate dimension. They're like there, but they're like in the 5D or 6D, and they are there. I mean, and anybody like me who has clairvoyance, we can see them. Any person on this earth who has any third eye capability at all can pretty much see these things,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
quite.
know.
And also, if they're your family, they'll make themselves visible. So, but it's
Right.
interesting, the increments that you're talking about, increments, because in my mind, some of the very, very first people talking about Earth's ascension were some of the Tibetan monks and
Yes.
some of the yogis and people like that in
Yes.
temples high on a mountain. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that was like very, very like cutting edge conversation at the time.
Right.
They were the ones talking in the 40s that they knew Gaia was going to start changing before like the masses
Yes.
started talking about it. And then so you had like the Great Awakening was starting around then in the 40s, and that's when all the indigos started coming down here. And by the way, for people that don't know why they're called indigos, it's because Nancy Ann Tapp was the first person to see that color of aura coming in for the first time
Right.
in the
Right.
60s onwards. People had never seen that color of aura come in before. So Nancy Ann Tapp was the first person to, oh my God, I'm seeing all these indigo auras out of the blue, because it was all these bloody starseeds and ETs all coming in. So all the indigos and the first wavers and everything else. And then you had another great awakening in the 60s. That was the first really big one, when you had
Yes.
all of that
Yeah.
music and all that kind of stuff, but it was massively suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a little bit of ascension happening there, but then we had descension again. It was pushed back down, and then we had the Cold War and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next big one was around the harmonic convergence, which was 1987, the 16th of August, when
Right.
actual Gaia's magnetics actually started changing
Right.
for the possibility for the allowance of the Schumann resonance to be able to change, all that kind of stuff. But she had to change the magnetics of her. So you had 1987. And then you had some bits and pieces changing, and then the Cold War began to change, and that's when the archangels and the Cryon and Metatron and some of the ETs started really coming in for the first time, because they realized that we're not going to do what the Pleiadians did, because the Pleiadians blew themselves up with nuclear technology. So they
Yeah, well,
actually
they were here in Atlantis. They were here during the time of Atlantis. There was actually ETs from a lot of races that were here in Atlantis, and yes, they blew themselves up.
yeah.
Totally.
So I mean,
Yes.
there's actually a lot of civilizations that did have to go through an Armageddon
Yes.
moment
Yes. In
in
fact,
order.
6 times, right? I think it's 6 times they hit the reset button on this planet or something like that.
Yeah,
At least
yeah. I mean,
they,
on Earth, yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, so that's why the Galactics are so proud of us, because we didn't have to go through an extinction event in order
mhm,
to trigger Ascension. So
right.
you had the 90s, and then the next, I mean, the next one that I'm really aware of, the next increment was like around the early 2000s. That was a massive, where you had more people awakening around then. And then also you had the Matrix movie that came out. That wasn't a movie, that was basically just a documentary.
Yes, exactly.
And then 2012 was when we hit the photonic belt.
Right.
And then of course, 2020, C, and then the 1, and then the 9
Yeah.
hits, and then
Hmm.
the dark forces think it's gonna slow everything down, but actually just all it did was just wake more people up, and now we're getting the biggest awakening ever. So it's amazing, all the increments that I got, that, as you say, increments, very, very interesting. But it is fascinating. If you do go back to some of the writings from the 40s, from some of these Tibetan monks,
Uh-huh.
they were talking about ascension then, in
Well,
these
the
little,
Native Americans and the Native Indigenous people were talking about it hundreds of years ago. I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Hopi Indian tribe, they prophesied the 144,000 warriors of the rainbow. I mean, they knew
yeah,
about the ascension way back a couple thousand years ago. Honestly,
yeah,
the indigenous people, they've always known about the Aborigines in Australia, the South American rainforest shaman knew about it, the First Nations in Canada, the Native Americans in America, even tribes in Africa. I mean, there are indigenous people all over the world who knew about this like
yeah,
a couple thousand years ago. And then it also was prophesied, if you watch the show Ancient Aliens, they prophesied this kind of stuff way back in like even Babylonian times and stuff, and like
yeah,
ancient Mesopotamia and ancient what is it by what is that called? I can't remember, but all of those different ancient, cultures, even Greek, whatever, way back when they were prophesying
yeah.
this kind of stuff happening. So yeah, they've known
But,
about
but,
it for a while.
but people have to remember, it's not a given that ascension was
Hmm.
100% going to happen. We had to cross the line, and we did cross the line, but it was not 100% is definitely going to happen. It's a given.
No,
There was a timeline that was very, very close, that we were going to blow ourselves up.
they were about to push the reset button before the whole the letter C thing happened. Before that happened, we were actually getting very close to them pushing reset button again. And it was going to be like a meteor, or it was going to be Yellowstone, which is the biggest caldera in the entire world. If that goes, the whole world is gone. That would just totally tilt the earth. These people who are on YouTube right now, who are sitting there and saying, oh, in 10 years from now, the axis is going to tilt and we're all going to die. Well, no, that was the old timeline. That's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna. The
So
magnetics of the world. There is not going to be a pole shift. There is definitely not, because
no, there's not going to be, because it would kill us all. It would ruin everything.
yeah, yeah, it would. That's now not going to happen. And then also, people forget there are actual beings of light that specialize just in the magnetics of the Earth.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
Cryon is one, for example.
Yes.
The
Cryon of
magnetic
magnetic
master.
service. He's Cryon of magnetic
Yeah.
service because
So
he
there,
handles the
yeah.
magnetics.
So there are
Yeah.
beings that are working just, and if I remember correctly, the pole shift was something that the dark ones were actually going to try and engineer themselves. It was not a
Yes.
natural event. It was something that was
No.
inorganic. They were going
Yeah.
to try and force, but it's not going to happen.
No, they're
Uh,
being taken out. All of those
yeah,
all of the matrix. Well, the matrix around the earth, the prison was taken down in December of 2019. That was removed. Okay, because I know people who were involved in it. It was taken out December 2019. And then what they call the white hats, or whatever you want to call them, they've been cleaning out all of the, bad guys off of the planet, all the dark ones. They've been cleaning them up left and right. A lot of them are being executed. A lot of them are being shipped off to wherever, send them to another galaxy far, far away. I don't care. Get them out of here. Um, but they're all going, and there's a huge cleanup that's going on. And so all of the things that they had planned, all of their finances, were shut down. So all the money
yeah,
that they had billions and billions of dollars that they were using to create bad things on the planet, and they were getting that money from trafficking of children.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
adults, for their nefarious, 9 million kids, and I don't know how many million adults that they've actually been rescuing too, because they're breeding adults and using them for organs and using them for creating different genetic experiments and all
Yeah.
sorts of things. So all of that is all being cleared away, and everything's being free. People are being freed, and that's all happening. And so they are having the head of the snake is being cut off, basically. So they're not able to do the nefarious things. All the things that they had planned have been foiled 100%. They can't do them anymore, because we have really amazing beings that are involved in helping us to create this new earth and to clean up our planet, to clean our planet up, all the trash, basically, off the planet.
100%, 100%. So,
Yeah.
and then, once all the big cleanup has basically happened in the back end of it,
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to start seeing a lot more truths coming out. But I'm seeing that apparently a lot of stuff is going to come out the summer. And
Yep.
because I follow a lot of different sources. I get my own intuition.
Me too.
I get my
Mm-hmm.
own messages, but I also
Mm-hmm.
look at what the galactics are saying, the ETs. I look at what the Arcturians are saying. I look at what the Archangel Michael is saying, Saint Germain. I also I don't really follow Q too much. It's interesting what's going on there, but I don't really follow that. But
I don't either. I don't follow it either.
but
Yeah.
I also funnily enough, I look at a lot of astrology. Actually, there's some
Mm-hmm.
really amazing astrologers I watch who are been predicting some really, really, really good stuff, and who've actually been really, really on the money. And
Yes.
there's even a guy I follow who's a starseed astrologer. He does astrology just for starseeds. It's so cool.
Who's that?
His name is Sal, and I think if you type
Huh.
Starseed Astrologer on Facebook or something, he just does a starseed
I
astrology.
need to
It's
find
so
him.
cool.
I usually follow Joni Patry, who I think you told me about, didn't she?
Yeah,
She's the
Joni
Vedic
Patchy is really
astrologer.
cool.
She's really accurate. She's very
Yeah, she's
accurate.
really, really good. She's actually predicting big things for Mr. T, the T Man,
Yeah,
to
I
come
know.
back
She's
in the
predicting
summer.
really positive things for Mr. T. All of her predictions are very positive. She doesn't have
Yeah,
anything scary or
yeah.
Armageddon or anything in her predictions.
Yeah, I
It's all
mean,
very good.
everyone needs to stay away from all these scary predictions, because the thing is that on the other side, yeah, there's a battle going on the other side too in the astral. But in the other side, most of the timelines and most of the battles have almost been cleared up. It's mostly been sorted out on the other side of the veil and in the astral and in the ET world and stuff. It's just going to take a while to filter down to our reality on Gaia now. And people are getting
Right.
tired, but they've got to just be patient. But they want all this stuff externally outside of them to happen. They really need to be focusing on themselves right now.
Yeah, they do. I was just looking down at the time and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we've been talking more than an hour, like an hour and 14 minutes, because it's like 11:14, and I
Okay.
have
Yeah, you have another
another
interview.
YouTube. I'm being interviewed by somebody on their channel in a few minutes. So
Go for it.
I've got to run, but I wish we could keep going another hour with this, because every time I talk to you, it's always amazing. It's always wonderful. It's always
Yeah.
brilliant. And I enjoy, we have to just do these like regularly. We need to just keep doing
100%. I
these.
mean, time has gone
Yeah.
nowhere. I literally, time has gone. I don't know where the hour has gone. It's literally
Yeah,
shot by.
I can't even believe it. I looked down at the clock and I was like, kind of like freaked out, because it's like, oh my God, I have another interview. And it
Yeah,
just didn't even feel like it was an hour. But
yeah.
so do you, Alexander, do you have any last minute words? And can you also share with everybody where they can reach you or where they can find you to contact you, and also your YouTube channel and all of that? Do you want
Yeah,
to share that?
just YouTube, just type Alexander Quinn. But I do have a very important message actually. Just ignore all the fear and all the fear conspiracies right now. And it doesn't matter if someone's fake or if they're not fake, or if they said, the what is good for you or
Uh-huh.
not. None of that matters anymore. It doesn't
No.
matter. You need to be going and waking up your third eye and sorting your
Yes.
diet out and doing your own work. Don't worry about all of that stuff. It's just distractions, and it's going to lower your energy. It's all irrelevant. Don't worry about if someone said something and they're fake, or if the Galactic Federation of Light has been infiltrated, or what. None of it matters, because your inner thoughts are what create your outer reality. So if you're just focusing on all of that stuff, you're just going to bring more negativity towards yourself. You're going to manifest all of the things which are not on a higher timeline. Ignore all that stuff. Go for a nice walk. Listen to some nice music. Do a meditation. Try and contact the Arcturians. That's what is going to get you back on the ascension and speeding through it quick. So ignore all of that stuff. Do the inner
Yes.
work. That
All
is
the
the big,
noise. You
all
need
the,
to
forget
filter out
all the
all the
noise.
noise.
Forget all
Yep.
the noise, because there's a lot of noise trying to distract people at the moment. That is
Yeah.
the big message I have for people right now. Just
Yep.
go and read a book. Just go read a book. Just take the noise level and turn it down.
Or listen to 528 hertz frequency healing music or 852
Yeah.
hertz
I mean,
music,
I like to listen to, personally, I like to listen to 432.
Yes, 432 is good as well. Yep.
Yeah, or go and like, well, you know what I do when the world gets too much? I go and run a hot bubble bath with Epsom salts and candles, and I go and listen to Cryon for an hour. And by the time I'm done with that, instead of focusing on what's evil and what's been infiltrated and who's evil and all this
Yeah,
evil,
exactly,
and the
right?
bullshit, I feel like a brand new person. So
Yeah,
and then
great
the next thing,
advice.
and then when I start feeling really, really great, that's when messages from these guys start coming in, because
Right.
you have to be a vibrational match to connect to whatever, to connect with these guys. They're not going to connect with you if you're messaging people about this terrible thing, the next terrible thing that's going to happen, and this thing's, but you're blocking yourself off in
Right.
fear.
Well, and you and
Stay
I have
out of
both been
fear.
on Arcturus too. You and I have both been in Arcturus and gotten that healing training, which is really cool. So if we want to connect with our brothers and sisters there, we need to quiet our mind and we need to get some peace. And I tell people all the time about God. God told me years ago, he said, and Jesus Christ, the same thing, told me years ago, I talk to every one of my children on earth. They are not listening to me because their minds are cluttered with all kinds of garbage.
Yeah.
And then he asked me to teach them how to quiet their mind. And I am a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor for a reason, because I am here to, Christ asked me to continue his teachings of how to connect people directly with their source, with creator. And how you do that is quieting your mind, because if your mind is just going nuts with all kinds of fear thoughts and crazy thoughts, you're not going to ever hear him. You're never
Yeah.
going to hear him. The only way you can hear source is you have to shut off all the noise. You have to shut off all the noise. You have to calm down all the crazy thoughts, the fear thoughts, get away from the TV that is mind control. It's 100% mind control. And, we watch TV, but we're watching stuff like National Geographic Explorer, where they're going to, Africa or
I mean,
somewhere,
if you're gonna watch TV, go and watch a film, a feel-good film. Something
Yeah.
nice, something that'll raise your
Losing my
vibration.
earbuds.
That's what I would say. There's
Mhm.
nothing bad with going and watching like a good film that will make you feel good. That's
No,
about good things.
comedy. Laughter is
Positive things.
healing. Laughter is a great doctor. In fact, Patch Adams, they made a movie with Robin Williams, who is one of my favorite comedians, who was offed by the cabal, I'm pretty sure. Robin Williams did Patch Adams. Patch Adams' whole thing was going into hospitals and getting people to laugh, because laughter is a really high vibration. And one of the times when I was receiving a healing from a body talk practitioner, Yeshua Christ popped into the room and he said to me that I needed to throw my head back and laugh at these people. Like when people are coming against me and when they're doing nasty things, to throw my head back and laugh at them, because they are like little preschoolers. Basically, they're just juveniles. They're just not, they're very baby souls. They just don't know, that whole thing of forgive them. They know not what they do. They're very, very baby souls. And so he said, you have to just laugh at them, because he said the laughter, number one, you need to be compassionate to the fact that they're not at the same spiritual level as you are. They have a ways to go. We're like high school graduates and they're preschoolers. Okay.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is the laughter is so healing. It's such a high vibration. So anytime you can laugh, my kids make me laugh all the time. They always say goofy things that just make me laugh. Sometimes I almost pee myself because they make me laugh so hard. Like if you want to laugh really hard, be around kids, be around the younger generation, because they say some really goofy things. So,
Well, I mean, I've got a massive sense of humor, and some people think that they say, well, you should be much more serious. Like, if you're going to
why?
channel a message, or if you're going to be like, a really spiritual person, you have to be serious. But
No, you
you know,
don't.
no, exactly. So you know, creator, we are made in
Mhm.
its image, and creator is, you know, there are ETs that have a sense of humor. You know, people forget
Oh,
this.
I would say probably most of them do, except for the ones
Yeah,
that are kind of like the Borg, you know, or they don't have
yeah,
any like the Greys or something.
yeah.
But the Arcturians have a great sense of humor. The Syrians have a great sense of humor. The
The
Pleiadians,
Pleiadians have a
Pleiadians have
very
an amazing
wicked,
sense of
they have a
humor.
very wicked, dry,
Oh yeah.
sarcastic sense of
Yeah,
humor.
totally. I mean, I've seen their messages, I've heard their messages, I've, you know, connected with them. One of my guides is a Pleiadian. It's, you know, they're insanely funny. They can be really, really funny at
Yeah,
times. So all of God's creatures have some sort of sense of humor. Even animals have a sense of humor. Dogs and cats, have you seen how silly dogs and cats can get? You know,
yeah.
they have a good sense of humor too. So
Don't let me keep you. Don't let me keep you.
yeah,
Don't let,
I have in a few minutes. I have a gal. So thank you so much,
thanks for having me.
Alexander. I am grateful for you, and I can't wait to come over there and go to Glastonbury and meditate and with you and all that
Yeah,
fun
well,
stuff.
I just got back from Glastonbury, so I just put all the
Mhm,
pictures up on my official page. So go and check them out
mhm.
if you want. But I went up to the tour and I meditated at night, and it was beautiful. It was just wow, it's such special, such a special place. So
Well,
yeah,
I was there in one of my past lives. I was also in Ireland, which is part of why I'm wearing green for St. Patty's Day, even though I'm not Irish in this lifetime. I lived there. I was a Druid priestess in one of my past lifetimes. I was also an Avalonian priestess in Glastonbury,
right.
which was Avalon in the higher dimension
And
at one,
still is, and
and
still
still
is for
is. It
those
still
that know.
is. Yeah, you can go to it through your third eye portal if you want to travel there through the third eye. You can, which is what my goal is, to get over there and sit there and go you know, back home or whatever you want to call it. Not really home, because that's not my home, but temporary home, one of my homes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I just want all of this mess to go away so I can have my life back again, because I'm all about traveling the world, which I haven't been able to do for a while, for almost 3 years, because of different reasons have happened. So for the last 2.5 or so years, I haven't been able to do what I like to do, which is going around the world and immersing myself in culture, making friends in countries. I mean, I've made friends in Italy and France and everywhere, England, UK, friends all over the world. And it's exciting. That's what makes life interesting and happy and full of zest. So I'm looking forward to that again. So, yeah. So
Well,
thank you so much. Thanks
thanks for
everybody
having
for
me.
watching. Thanks for joining us here today on this channel. And if you go, if you like this video, please like it, hit the like button, subscribe and share it with anyone you know. Please go over to Alexander Quinn, go to his channel, check him out. All his videos are very positive. You will never hear fear come out of the mouth of this man ever. You'll never hear anything fear-based. Everything out of him is love-based. And that is my word, my last final message for all of you today is, if you listen to somebody on social media and YouTube, losing my voice here, and they and whatever they're saying feels fearful to you, it makes you feel tense, it makes you cringe, it has an icky vibe, you should not be listening to them, because honestly, we are all co-creating with our thoughts right now, and whatever we focus our attention on, we're going to manifest it really fast. So we need to be focusing on only the positive, only love, and only that high vibrational stuff. And that's my final word to everyone. And I wish you all blessings for your day. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. How do I?